Good morning and welcome to Perspectives. Perspectives this morning on Invicta 98.9. And this morning, Tuesday morning, it's a day we come back home to Nigeria and close our home here in Kaduna State. COVID-19, we know the toll is taking. New variant is what we're talking about now. That is taking another shape and of course causing concerns too about its widespread. But back home, instead of all of that and sneezing on bent elbows, we have been told about that. Kaduna State, we also know that the governor said there are some places, not sit-in places now. So we're getting a rise of it, and of course it's drawing concerns. So much so that the governor has said that if we just what anybody wants to hear, but that's the reality of COVID-19. Now with Barao Dikko Teaching Hospital. And what we're talking about, not real, but again, the reality of it is that it is real. And of course, Doctor celebrated Christmas, and what we saw again, it just was not encouraging because again, we saw crowds, we saw people, not on their face mask and all of it.
Second wave of coronavirus infection. Pandemic or epidemic as the case may be, and high numbers. So it's a thing of concern. We have an increase in outbreaks of new infections, and so also mortality, death rate, mass celebrations, the announcements, the awareness, the preaching, the begging for people to adhere to protocol has always been there. If you remember, since the first wave, a lot of these media sensitization activities have been responsive. However, acceptance of this protocol, acceptance of responsibility really let down their guards. But now we can see there's an increase. The new wave is here, but people are still not really adhering to the protocol. So it's really a thing of to do whatever it requires to do to put it in check, which might not be very palatable to individual lives and livelihood. So for now, like I said, everybody should wake up to reality and let's see how we can tackle coronavirus.
Can you venture, Doctor, into just why is it that people are not, compliant?
Sure, human activities, our general attitude to life and responsibility. Sometimes people just attend to change, in this case the new normal, irrespective of the expected outcome. The expected outcome is not what somebody wants to do. Yes, it's uncomforting, okay? People find difficult to step a little bit out of their because people naturally don't want to change. They don't believe that there is a future somehow, as far as I'm concerned. That's what I think. Because if you tell me to obey this, do not want to adapt to this. Secondly, some have a lot of myths and misconceptions about it, and that has actually fueled a whole lot of theories. Again, people are entitled to their opinions. However, you should look at even the protocols are not so stringent. These are things that you could do, even if you don't believe in that. Just do it uneducated, so it has brought in a lot of mixed feelings, okay, and people don't mistrust, they don't say giving up on life. Then another part of it is the nature of the infection itself. While a lot of people might not have symptoms or the risk factors, the risk of complications vary from one person to the other. While someone might have infection and then just pass through it like any other thing and come out even without knowing it, that person might infect somebody else to the stage where I think people do not just want to adhere to the protocols, and some just love being disregarding authorities and disregarding and set down rules.
So by people would just want to disregard protocols that are on ground for us to follow. You recall that the palliative state where people cause so much money. Again, people would say had been set aside for coronavirus, and where did it get us and stuff like that. So Some people feel that's what's playing the big role, that trust thing, people and government, is just, a big reason here.
Doubt left people to have a lot of doubt. And I think that's very key. Nobody can remove that from the discourse. However, I think no matter the explanation government had, or again, of course, they have various ways of communicating, all right? Even if you had, like now we have come down to the second wave, which was predicted. Not that people plan is still there, and then we go back to even a worst case scenario. Some might even have third waves and even more. So probably, I'm not holding forth for government, probably looking forth at the future brought about a lot of trust issues, yes. Valid, bring out information, well, as long as you say it's safe. Like recently, I've lost colleagues, lost patients, lost friends, family members, and people have actually had people sometimes want to look at what can we as individuals do, not just doing for the country or doing for the state, doing for ourselves and our fellow citizens. Okay, yes, generally, globally, wherever you have it or wrong as the case may be, so issues of trust, even in families, in other settings, there will always be issues of trust. Like I said, communication is key, but looking at the whole picture beyond the divide on whatever side whoever belongs, what is the impact of the general impact of this coronavirus infection and we address ourselves and look at how can we, while we are doing all that, what has happened to the coronavirus? It's still there.
You just talked about it, the variant now that people are, saying that's what we're seeing in the second wave of it, and we're celebrating that there is a vaccine now. Don't know when it will come to Nigeria. What could just be the implications?
Yeah, those are very, very issues of concern. Okay, like if you remember in the awareness that we've had, and when you have a new virus, it is new to everybody, new to the science world, to the health world. So a lot of things are being studied. But is it also prone to, we're talking of variants now, what if it mutates completely? So those are possibilities, those are things strategizing and coming up with new methods. You see, we'll now start going round and round the cycle. Now, a new variant has been added. Well, information I've got now is that most likely the vaccine could still take care of the new variant. Let's hope so and pray so. But again, what's it telling us? If there could be variants, on its techniques and its ways of infecting humans, the new variant is said to be more infectious, so that a lot of things share distance. What if the second variant or subsequent variants become classically airborne? What happens? Okay, so that's why we need to actually do all kinds of money to work on vaccine itself. Of course, research is going on in Nigeria for, if possible, on vaccines. It's not even gone around. Really enough, but fine. They're trying to do some good distribution around the globe. These vaccines are safe for us first. Okay, thank God people are actually taking the vaccines. So actually see those that have side effects and all that. And even after all, if we start taking it, the pharmacovigilance, looking at life-threatening at a large scale that should be discontinued. Then we look at storage. Okay, the Pfizer vaccine, and then distribution, even in the country, how is it going to be distributed? So a whole lot of things are actually being planned, both human and financial and what have you. We pray and hope that the vaccine actually works to help us achieve both human and capital investments, and that will actually not be very good for anybody.
But is that people are coming out for the test, and we're getting them in large numbers showing positive. But the health facilities are overwhelmed as it is now. Back home in Nigeria.
Yes, it's true. As compared to the initial time and the first 2 years.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, some people have seen, at the first time, the thought was anybody that has it, go quarantine for 2 weeks, lockdown, kept at the isolation center. Okay, there's the home-based care, home-based management where you can be isolated if you meet a certain criteria. So with these modifications, like I said, some people, I've had somebody that said, okay, fine, you've been sick, you've been going to the facility, and just let's do if it is, so that we can see how we can protect other people. And lo and behold, when she did and the results came up, attend to yourself, make sure you are treated, and then try to isolate yourself from others. Even if you don't believe, just try and do the religious aspect of looking at things. Okay, some have actually been well, there's a lot of improvement on that, but ab initio they were actually not helping the test. However, following this rise, there's been some improvement, I must say, in the number of testing. Either between requirements and it's made some people come to test. When you come to test because you're going to travel and you find you're positive, and then now contact tracing, who are your contacts, your families, and that, and people now. So there's some quite enough state. Last week or so, it was reported about 20 doctors died.
Yeah, and the risk, because again, malaria, signs of headache, and
yes,
and all of that. How is it that we do not just?
Sometimes, in some aspect, is not. They're not going to, except for stringent provisions that may require you to either attend to some services or gain some services where you come in. Okay. Now, let's not forget that even the test kits are not as. The testing alone is quite expensive, so you have to do some checklists. So I will not be a suspect, so to say, to be screened. Meanwhile, somebody else who has malaria, fever or cough, who just has enough, it will be ideal that even if people who maybe some institutions, okay, everybody gets through. Like now, I know the government has ordered that all civil service goes down to all aspects. You see, there will be a whole lot of uptake in the testing. So in the health facilities where you have 500 people coming to attend to be seen by doctors, but amongst those people that come from those services could be plenty people having a coronavirus. If we had enough kits, I'm sure, including the healthcare provider. Now, a healthcare provider, and that's why it's encouraged that everybody, a healthcare provider should attend to every person coming to the hospital. Everybody should use your personal protective equipment as the case may be. Okay? But then, of course, adhering to the protocols also, it will go a long way. But again, if we're having a variant that might infection across the country, not just Kaduna State, healthcare workers being exposed, being infected, despite the fact that we're not testing as much as we have done in the first instance. But I must say there's been an uptick, an increment in bouquet, and there's been an increase. We've not gotten to where we wish to, and a lot of sensitization, a lot of activities being going on. People are deployed to all the local government areas and sites to feel like
98.9. This program is sponsored by Kaduna State Ministry of Health, and with me in the studios, guest situation all over Makumi, Nigeria, and with us in Kaduna State. Welcome back. Is the program Perspectives this morning, and things people would want to find answers. And of course, social media, what it is doing, like take the vitamin C, the 1,000 milligrams, and also when we begin to see symptoms, that we go for this treatment. Why are we not getting that? And some people say, why is it so secretive about answers to COVID-19?
There's nothing secretive about COVID-19. Like you said, the social media is there, the internet world is there, there are rooms where a lot of information on how to manage. The internet has a lot of also false information going there. It's now for you to be able to ascertain which is appropriate and which is wrong. Who have it, they don't have any symptoms. Some have it, they might have mild symptoms, and their body will generally help if their immunity is in top gear, medications, and then some might be critically ill or require some degree of life support or supplemental oxygen as the case may be, and some might die. So majority, about 80% that fall into those that have mild, that can go home and not doing anything. It's not any secret. Now, I know even when you have common cold, when you have other flu, you have respiratory tract infection, upper respiratory tract infection. That should be the question. When you are uncomfortable, you are having congestion. Before COVID, of what the COVID-19 has caused in your system. When you have catarrh, for example, and your nose. So when you have fever, your body is hot, and they say tepid sponge, maybe a child, you get some warm or cold compress and you press, is that thing killing what is causing it? No, but it's helping us the actual work. Now, people have come and said they inhale. Me, I don't have a problem. I inhale steam at various times with or without coronavirus. Comes as your body fights the disease. Good and well. If you remember the Italian that came in February this year, you know, he was sick in isolation and he had gone to him. Some came in, recovered, and were even discharged while he was still there. So various immune status of individuals help them, because there is no treatment, no known treatment for coronavirus. Okay, so if you come and if you are sick and your body hard, generally if you have fever, they give you something for fever. If it's paracetamol that works for the fever, they give you paracetamol. If it's something stronger, they give you that. If you have, okay, so when people say there's a secret about that, no, the idea about some of those drugs, also read that. But you can't come and announce, okay, yes, we have found out that we are using this drug. Meanwhile, these drugs generally are still being tried. Okay, there's not just the supplements. Okay, I mean, let me say, okay, take antiretroviral. People that have ordinary cough, okay, let me not say ordinary drug abuse, as such would arise. People do not need to have COVID to take vitamin C. We are talking of things that have good diet, balanced diet, take a lot of fruits, the things that will ordinarily make you healthy, make your immunity in the facility or home-based care, as I've mentioned, is to check, is to stop the spread of the disease, so that people don't get it all mixed up. And also, if you have the immunity, which of course can also be obtained in fruits, that's why I'm giving more supplemental vitamin C. So we don't, if you now say, okay, everybody that has it, just take this and go about your normal life, as per avoiding isolation. See, in its management, but just as it applies to many other drugs that might not be over-the-counter drugs, the home-based, if you go and it's prescribed, you're entitled to know your drugs you're taking. So nobody's going to hide that from you. They tell you, we're giving you these drugs for this reason, okay? But for those that tell you, eat well. If you don't have anything, you say, okay, fine, you don't have anything, just go ahead, rest, and then isolate yourself. Are we hiding what is killing people? If you can actually manage it at home, I mean, everybody will be good to go. So all those things people have seen, as long as you're not taking it in a way that it becomes harmful to you, okay? So take it in moderation, in good rates, as it is strong. If you are clean, your environment is clean, all these things help to make the immunity strong. And once your immunity is strong, even if you become infected.
Well, again, Kaduna is on the high rise with coronavirus now, and that is disturbing. And of course, see around us people that can be identified to say sick, and maybe exhibiting some of these symptoms that we can see. Is it part of citizens'
responsibilities, shared responsibilities, as the case can be? And it happened in the first wave. So we can just go back to our first love, to go back to our first wave approach. You can see call numbers where you could, even when you have symptoms on yourself, you could call, ask questions, okay, and you'll be directed appropriately. If you have somebody who has symptoms, own responsibilities. And now, the way it's going, of course, institutions, if you come to church and you see people, or worship centers, church, mosque, and other institutions, and people, the head of the institution, why are you not enforcing these protocols? Okay, and then the person might be invited to answer to that, and then other measures that might be taken. When Kaduna State opened up, there was the forward message that was being shared that people should adhere to, so that we can protect ourselves, where F stands for face mask or face shielding into elbow, or using tissue and discarding, then washing of hands for W with water or hand sanitizer, avoiding large crowds, remaining indoors. Like during these festivities, we encourage, if you don't really need to travel, don't travel. Acronym that was sent out was to help us take responsibility. If you go to the market, went to Central Market over the weekend, at some point you see people are checking you. Individuals should encourage themselves and be responsible. It will make us actually win this one, honestly.
All right, still with the program perspectives, and of course, what is happening around you. What are your concerns here? And main thing.
This is all encompassing. It's beyond government. It's everybody's business. It is everybody's business.
Real coronavirus. It's real. It's here. It's taking another shape. Variant, mutation, and all of that. And just let's get to hear your concerns and ask you the questions you want to ask. And call us on 070-87-800-989. 070-87-800-989. We're taking your calls now. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Toya Ladi. I have a question. Going by the figure released yesterday per sample, so can we say now that we are making progress in Kaduna? And the second question is that we can see now the enforcement scheme. They are all at some places like shops where people are gathering and other places. We are not seeing such enforcement there. So what is happening? What is going?
The first question, yeah, if you look at the trend, it's not for us now. We have not improved. If you are looking at the numbers of people getting infected, if you want to say we have improved, in numbers might be more, might be less. Okay, there are a lot of factors that bring about the numbers found positive per day. Okay? If you look at the number of samples dropping, but meanwhile I was 48. I know we've hit over 100 from days back or some recent past. Okay, we want to see it dropping to, if possible, 0. Okay, but again, not just keep positives found. Okay, so that's why we are still preaching that once we can do all these things, and we all will know when the wave goes down, we'll flatten the curve. Okay, these protocols, and keep up the good work we are doing, and hoping and praying that the number of positive cases will drop down everywhere. Okay, and for those that think they've not come, they don't come to their side, one day they will be cut on. But I assure you that with the way it's going, they are going to get to every part of the state, especially the areas with the high burdens. You look at local government, there are some parts that have the highest number of cases every day. High number of cases. Just take you so as to know, are you adhering to these protocols, not just for eye service purpose, but let's encourage people, even if they don't come. That's the idea. Even if people do not come to enforce, to make you get infected and die, what have you gained? Okay, or you infect your loved ones, and then you commit resources, the state commit resources, and eventually at the end of the day the person dies. What have we gained? So that should be the message. How do we prevent?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
All right. Let's
yes, from Gungura.
Yes.
My concern is then there has been then I think infected again. So is it possible that after being vaccinated, infected when if the person comes in contact with the organism? Because most when you have sore throat, the virus that causes sore throat, anything that has to do with respiratory tract, so I don't know if it is best to just focus on the preventive aspect or the management aspect. Anyways, that's just my concern.
Okay, Joseph. All right.
We've had cases of the infection, but that's the idea about the prevention. You said prevention. Part of the methods of prevention, aside these protocols, which are non-pharmaceutical, then the pharmaceutical methods of prevention now comes in with the vaccine. Okay, the idea of the coronavirus, the particular SARS-2 that we are talking about. Remember, like I said, this is just barely 1 year. Okay, so and the vaccine, that's the idea about the technology being put long life prevention, so that once you are vaccinated, once you are vaccinated, you will not have coronavirus again. And even if eventually it gives us protection, it's less than 1 year. So even the trials and people that have had the shots have not lived more than 1 or 2 years to see if they can be infected after that long period of time. Then with the technology, is looking at something that gives us a long, the simple, the new normal method for prevention of infection. Thank you.
All right, we're still with your calls. Hello, good morning.
Hello, I want to appreciate the government of Kaduna State for its own effort in the abuse COVID-19. I think it's one of the states that actually is really doing what is being expected.
because I'm here to about 2 days ago. And not only that, I also want to advise the government to strategize more strategies, like Corona. The government should strategize certain strategies again to see that actually this ignorance and literacy at least is being a little bit reduced within the.
And then the advice on strategies, of course, every day we try to strategize. But again, since you are aware, or those that have the myths and the wrong notion, to correct these notions, it's something we are all going to do, and hopefully we will. Good morning, sir.
My name is Mike Baba.
All right, Mike.
And sorry, I want to be also chicken to say, let them put in their best, especially when it comes to any government person. For example, warning of maybe a district head, any other person is going to be a secondary strictness. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Mike Baba.
Thank you very much. I think.
Okay, I'll just squeeze in this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
We want to throw more light on this. Even the keke driver was looking at myself and I just kept quiet. So I want you people please to throw more light on this issue of inside keke or bus. So please, I want more light to be thrown on that.
Okay.
And there are areas that they are not compliant. Talk more on wearing that nose mask. Thank you.
Empress, thank you.
Thank you, especially in public transport system. And there's the enforcement team even checking the cough hygiene, the respiratory etiquette that we've been talking about. The person coughing and spitting on it, it's wrong. Even without coronavirus, it's not healthy, it's not hygienic reality of life. We pray that people will get to abide and understand why we are doing this thing.
She didn't want to mention the area.
Yeah, I agree. You have, but the idea is that the task force, the team is going around. Like I said, high burden areas are on spotlight. But again, if we have areas where people are not complying, so these numbers, please let's listen. Could actually get them to call and then let people come and attend to anything you identify in regards to COVID. 070. The second one is 090 10 99 99 9924, and lastly 090 87. Have people or suspects, or you're not feeling well, you could call. If you have somebody who has refused to seek health care and you think it might be COVID, call this number. Thank you very much.
And that would just be about the size of it on Perspectives this morning. Program sponsored by Cotonou. With you on Perspectives tomorrow. I'd like to thank my colleague.